Welcome to the 52-week garden today. It's Easter Sunday, and I've got a little project I decided to do today as I'm still setting up my Bale garden as I'm waiting on the bales to cure or condition to be ready to plant in. And right now, I've got some 8-foot T-posts, some utility agricultural panel, and over here you'll see I've got my gloves, and I've got some I've got my T-post driver. That's a big heavy pipe with a couple of handles on it. This one happens to be spring loaded, so it doesn't hurt your wrist on the recoil to pound the T-post into the ground. And I have some of these really long, you can see they're about 8 or 9 inches long, of the heavy duty zip ties. Now what I decided to do, because every year I have 4 of these 4 bale square planters that I build, I decided, because I've enjoyed so much having the arch trellis tunnel that I built out of 3 panels and put 20 bales around, 10 on each leg on the inside and outside here for a total of 20. That's worked so well that I decided that since I'm going to keep this garden layout from year to year, I want to put an arch between these 4 bale planters, because that will give me even more room to grow vining squash, small melons, cucumbers, beans of all types of pole beans, and what do you want to say, peas and things of that nature, snap peas and sweet peas. So I decided, hey, I've got this space here, I might as well buy a few more T-posts and 3 more panels and make myself some more arches. Now I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, the first step, you see the finished arches here. The first step is to drive 2 posts in here and 2 posts in here. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to set these posts up. I'll pull the hay back just a little bit, stick my post down in there, jam it in good and tight, put my driver on top and drive these 4 posts in. I'll go ahead and get that done next, and then we'll jump to the next step. Now that we have our 4 posts driven in the ground, I want to show you a little detail here. You can see that I have the posts, I don't know, about 6 or 8 inches inside from both sides. Get them as level and straight as you can, as plumb as you can. Now I'm 6 foot tall, and these things come right about to just below my nose, right about my mouth. So they're about 6.5 feet high. These are 8-foot posts, so I've driven them about 1.5 feet into the ground. They're good and sturdy, and they're not going anywhere. I have 2 on this side and 2 on this side, and they're all within a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch or so of the same height. It doesn't have to be rocket science. One can be a little taller than the other. It won't hurt a thing. Now I'm ready to grab my cattle panel out of the trailer and bring it over here. You'll note that each of these has a white section at the top. Now the white section on this one's a little bit longer than there. They're not all exact. But as you're using your pile driver, or your post driver, as you raise the driver up, you can catch the white coming down, and that'll kind of give you an idea of where the post is so that you get them all stopped about the same way. So I'm going to go over here and grab this 16-foot panel. I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to sit one end in here, and then I'm going to loop it over and set the other end in here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll show you what that looks like before we secure it. Okay, now you can see that I've sat this panel in place. It's just sitting on the ground here, sitting on the ground here. I carried it in over my head, and I just sat one end down here. Then I worked my way over, picked it up, pushed it up over my head and brought it over the post and just sat it down here. And you can see that I've got kind of a natural arch that it's made. If your arch is a little too pointy up here, all you got to do is use your hand to grab here and here with both hands and pull down a little bit and work your way across and just pull down to round the arch out a little bit. It's resting on the ground and against the post, so it can't go anywhere, and as you grab it here and here, and pull down, and then work your way back and pull down. You can round out this top a little bit, flatten it out a little bit. Now that I've got this in place, I'm going to pick this up a little ways on this side and secure it, and then work my way up the legs every 2 feet or so and secure it with zip ties. And again, like I told you before, I'm going to zip tie this way and this way to make an X for strength, and I will pull the wire tight against the post and then zip tie it as I go. Once I've got this side done, then I'll come over to this side, raise it up, paying attention to the height. You know, if you're 5'3" or 5'5" or 5'8" or 6'1" like me, you're going to want this at a different height depending on how tall you are. I'll show you these two over here that I've already done. You want this at a height that's comfortable to walk under and easy to reach up and pick your fruit. You want to be able to easily reach up here and touch the wire without having to stretch your arm all the way out, because that will be uncomfortable when it comes time to harvesting and working on your plants. So you really want this outside edge about, I don't know, about 5 or 6 inches above your head is really good. That's plenty of clearance. You can easily walk under here, work the overhead as you need to without straining yourself, and make things a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work on zip tying one side, and I'll show you that, and then I'll zip tie the other side and show you the finished structure. We're almost finished. I have raised these. You can see I raised that one about, I don't know, about 7 or 8 inches. This one's raised maybe about 12 inches. I did that to get the height that I wanted. Now, originally it was a little taller than this. I let it go a little bit higher than I wanted because the apex was a little bit pointy. And once I secured everything, you can see I've secured about every 2 sections of wire, every other section showing up top. I did it a little closer because you've got more tension up here where the wire starts to bend. So I did one here, one here, one here, and then I spread it out to 2 down. And I did that on all 4 legs. You can see that. And you can also see that I got that nice crisscross pattern there. One zip tie is this way, one zip tie is this way, so I get a nice X pattern. And I pulled the wire in and then pulled these nice and tight. I did wear gloves while I was doing that. These zip ties will wear on your hands after a while. If you use pliers, you tend to pull them too tight and break them. It does work best by hand. I wear gloves because the edges of these wires here can be a little sharp, and yeah, you just want to protect your hands. You do a lot with them, you want to protect them. Now, once I got it all secured, I came up here like I told you, and I used both hands, and I grabbed the wire here and grabbed the wire here about 2 or 3 sections apart and just pulled down to force the top down some. And I worked my way across and then worked my way back, and now I've got, I'll back up here, I've got a nice gentle arch going on here. I can reach up very easily with my arms still bent. I've got about 5 or 6 inches above my head in the center there, and I can reach up easily in the center. My arm's still slightly bent, so I won't wear myself out trying to pick vegetables and beans and work on things. And now I have 3 more arches that are in the space between these square bale planters. And the great thing about these is not only do you have more trellis and arch to grow vining and pole beans and vining vegetables like cucumbers and whatnot on, and small squash and small melons and the like, winter squash and so forth, but now I can plant things in the top edge or in the sides of these bales that normally wouldn't grow later into the early part of summer, or later into summer going into fall, because they would bolt, like lettuces and various other things, cabbage family things, and so forth and so on. I can now plant those things in these areas here because it'll be a little cooler and a little shadier underneath these lights, or excuse me, underneath these arches, and give those vegetables an opportunity to grow without bolting later into the spring and early summertime, and earlier into the last part of summer before you get to fall. And now I have a whole lot more real estate to grow everything on. And making good use. I'm real excited about these. Not real expensive. These panels cost me $21 a piece. I've got $5.50 a piece in these 8-foot T-posts. And then I've got $3 or $4 worth of zip ties tied up. And I have plenty of extra. But I've got, you know, maybe a couple dollars worth of zip ties in here. Pair of gloves. And a post hole, or not a post hole, a T-post driver. To drive these posts in. And you can use a hammer if you want, but it goes so much quicker and it's so much easier and less dangerous if you use if you spend the $20–25 it costs to buy one of these T-post drivers. They're great for when you do have to remove and reinstall these T-posts at some point. Worth the investment. So, you know, I've got maybe, you know, what did I say? I got 5, 10, 15, 20, 21 in the panel. You know, I got maybe $30 in this arch, and I got 3 of them now. And so they're not terribly expensive, and it took me about 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes to make each one of these. So in less than an hour and a half, I was able to build all 3 of these arches and take the time to film one for you, okay? So there's a cool garden project to make an arch. And again, if you want to make 3 of them in tandem, 2 or 3, we've got 1, 2, 3 panels here. You can create an actual tunnel or a house, and you can grow in the ground, in the bales, in raised beds. Works well with all methods. And in the winter, you can actually cover this with clear plastic and use this as a greenhouse for the winter and a hothouse in the spring to start your seedlings. So there you go. That's all about building arches with cattle panel and T-posts. It's a pretty simple project. I encourage you to give it a try if it looks like something that'll fit into your gardening plans. And that's all I have for you on this segment. And until the next one, get out there and grow something. Thanks for joining me at the 52 Week Garden.